Good morning. Let's get started. I have with me a very special human being, a one of a kind, an Iron Man. His name is Richard Wright. He's a dad of two gorgeous girls. He's had brain cancer 3 times, which he's survived. He's a global speaker and a radical optimist, an expert on overcoming challenges. Richard has completed a number of full Ironman events. We can get into that, Richard, while fighting cancer, and even finished in the top 10% of all finishers. It just gets more and more remarkable. I love this quote about you, Richard. I am no different to you. You are equipped to survive everything life throws at you if you want it bad enough. Oh my gosh, Richard. It's actually a privilege and a pleasure for me to be interviewing you. I just love the name Iron Man. That just says so much.
Thanks, Kev. So nice to be here, and thank you for the privilege and the honor of having a chat with you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, Richard. I want to delve deep because I think you have a lot to offer. And I want the audience to know not only are you a remarkable human being because you do so much, also to improve yourself, but to really be an example to everybody else around you. Let's go back in time, Richard, not to the beginning, but where this all started happening for you. Because where you are right now was a transformation.
Sure. So, Ironman is something that I've been pretty good at in my life. Started late in life, so I was never a pro athlete, but a pretty useful amateur athlete, finishing in top 20 in a number of Ironman events. First amateur athlete across the line, won my age group, got to world champs. It was something I was really good at. But then in 2016, I found out that I had got 5 days after completing a race, and I really battled to get through it. But I was determined that if I could get through this race, I don't have brain cancer, because I've been told just before that there was this possibility. And I guess I tried to prove to myself I didn't. 5 days afterwards, a lumbar puncture. We found out that it was brain cancer, and straight into a theater. And that was a rough time. Everything turned itself upside down. So, I keep on saying to people right now with the viruses, the same feelings that we're all feeling right now, that's kind of what it felt like. Life upside down, nothing is normal anymore. And how do you move forward in this space and navigate this space?
Right.
So, yeah, tough time. But, and then quite shortly after that, I was told I had 6 months to live. So extremely rare and a very aggressive form of cancer.
Okay.
So, it was tough.
Richard, this is very interesting because this shows all about business, wealth, and investing. And all of it, if you really encompass it all under one umbrella, it's about the mind. It's a mindset. So why I find you fascinating is not only is the show about a mindset, you have a mindset, but you also have a disease, or excuse me for saying, it's a cancer that you're fighting at the same time. So not only are you staying positive and optimistic, you're kind of a tough-minded optimist, actually, by the way. You're also fighting something else that's literally, it's not for you, it's against you. A lot of us are just trying to change or have a shift up here. You are living it on a daily basis, but you're also having another warfare, another battle scenes going up in your brain, which is so sad. And I love the t-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So, Enrich, the company is called the Enrichment Project, and slogan is Enrich. So I call myself a transformative storyteller. That in telling my story, because that's what I do for a living. If I can help you to transform your thinking, you nailed that one. In just the smallest way, I can help you to move forward in your own life. So that's all it is, really. So yeah, the thoughts, it's everything. So how do you not be a victim of brain cancer? How do you not be a victim of your life being turned upside down, the disruption, the change, the turmoil? It's almost impossible not to be. But at some point in time, you've got to call that and make a conscious decision that you refuse to be a victim any longer. And at that point in time, it means taking control of your thoughts. Because as we know, your thoughts determine your perceptions or your reality. Your reality will determine your actions or your behavior. So if you're wanting to change your actions or behavior, and most of us do, you have to change your thoughts first. And we trip ourselves up by trying to change the behavior and the actions, and then we get disappointed when it doesn't work. And the reason for that is it's the same thinking, just different actions. So that's never going to work. So the critical thing for me was in changing my thoughts and in trying to take control of what I thought, because I kind of figure if I can control that, then I've got a better chance of controlling an outcome.
That's amazing. Richard, I want to actually take us, I'm going to share my screen with the audience right now. I want you to take us on a journey of who Richard Wright is, your purpose, who you are, what you're doing, and this is what I love, Richard. Everything I see on your social media, this is Richard Wright's Facebook page. Everything I see on social media about you, Richard, I love the I am. I think the I am is a very important statement. I think it's a very powerful statement, and we can delve into that maybe later. But from my personal opinion and my personal understanding, that's very biblical. It's a very powerful statement. It's used a lot in affirmations, in meditation, and as we know, the great I am is that internal soul or spirit that is guiding you. It's your guiding force through this journey on planet Earth and through the universe, right? Because there's many dimensions, Richard. Are we talking the same language, or am I just kind of going on another tangent?
No, so in terms of the I am, so I think being told you've got 6 months to live was the greatest opportunity for me to be the most authentic possible version of myself.
Like that there.
But you know what happened there? So a really good friend of mine, her daughter right now in lockdown. So if you go back one picture, her daughter is doing these portraits.
Okay.
She's 5 years old and Michelle. And so submit your portrait, and Bronwyn Williams, her daughter Michelle, and she comes up with this portrait. So I sent that one, and it was shoot me now, because I'm surrounded by what I'm saying. I feel like I'm surrounded by idiots, which is myself in my own mind. It's
right.
When you overthinking. And what was so cool is what I said is the power of being a little kid. Is she turned that shoot me now because I'm overthinking to smile and wave, people.
Wow.
So I love that.
Wow.
I love that so much. So that's what that. But back to the identity, that was really important for me because there's the authenticity there. But the problem is we spend so much of our lives trying to be everything that the world demands. What did you have to become care for your parents to be proud of you, or to feel that your parents are proud of you, that they loved you? And as much as we shouldn't have to become anything special, that's the truth of it. When I do this, my mom and dad say, "Oh, good boy, we love you." And when I do something different, they're like, "Bad boy, bad boy." So what did you have to become? And then going to school, and then going to varsity or college or whatever it is, and then attracting a partner into your life, and so it goes. And we become all the things that the world demands of us to become.
Right.
But when you're told you're going to die, all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. You're not trying to be anything for anybody. But at that point, it's like, well, who the hell am I? So I went through a real crisis, identity crisis. So the I am is here. So I tattooed the words I am, and this is my identity arm. So these are all the words that I've gathered over the journey.
That is gorgeous. Yeah.
That's an amazing reminder of who I am, not what I am, but who I am. And there's some words that are less than amazing. There's obsessive, there's needy. I'm happy to embrace that stuff because it's who I am. And we spend so much time trying to just show the world only the good stuff, but we're not. We're glorious conglomeration of every single human trait out there, the good, the bad, and ugly. We just get to choose. So that's where the I am comes from, and whatever that is. So that's really important for me from an identity point of view. And I think that's been the real gift of cancer. There have been many gifts, but that's been one of them. And right now, I'm saying this to a lot of people, is that it's that Simon Sinek who's saying you start with your why, which is I am, your why. Who am I? What am I about? And then the how and the what. And if ever there was a time when we need to get into the why and the who I am and what is my purpose, and it's now. So I actually finished a book earlier in the year, writing a book.
Hold on right there, Richard. Hold on right there. I want to ask you that because I'm a big advocate on your big why. And I'm a big advocate of Simon Sinek. I think it's been a great contribution to society and to the world and to business in general. And also to our mindset. That I want to ask you that question. What is your big why? You've gone through everything else. You're still going through a lot, but what is your big why?
Okay, so that's an easy one for me. My 2 girls. So I don't feel dying. I'm no longer living, and that's okay. So I don't have an issue with that. But the thing I fear most in life is my two little girls not having a dad. I'm divorced, so they've got a mom and a dad. They've got two parents who love them, but we're two very, very different parents, as most parents are, and we bring something very different to the table. And not having a dad and going through life, they're little, they're still small, that's my greatest fear. So my why is overcoming everything in life and proving to my girls that their dad is going to be okay. That's half the reason for the Iron Man, and that's my purpose. From a survival point of view. From a greater why is I didn't survive cancer just to survive cancer. So my life needs to mean something more. And for me, that's why I speak. I resigned from a position 2 years ago to become a full-time speaker. And that's why I say if I can help people in moving forward in their lives and just by telling my story, then that's my purpose. So there's a wonderful, I'm sure you know it, that Japanese principle of ikigai, which is purpose.
No, explain that quickly. Explain that quickly, Richard.
Okay. So it's really awesome. Essentially, there are 4 spheres that we look at. The sphere of this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I love, this is what I am skilled at, this is what the world needs, and this is what I can get paid for. And where those 4 things intersect is your purpose. And for me, that purpose is massive.
Yes, okay. I know.
This is something I'm really passionate about and I love. I mean, that could be ideology, it could be faith, it could be anything. This is something I'm highly skilled at. This is something I can get paid for, and the world needs it. So and that's what I do every single day. So my sweet spot, my ikigai, my purpose is huge. So there's the girls, and that's my why. That really is my why.
Excellent. I want to go there quickly, Richard. I want to go to, I love that you're a speaker now and sharing your story with the world. That's very, very important. I want to make sure that they can access you, to book you for, I'm sure you come to America, right? You're global. You can go anywhere. Nothing's holding you back, Richard. This is Richard.
Sorry, that's the cool thing. So tomorrow I'm in New York and in India at the same time to a company that is global offices in both. And right now, I mean, you're there, I'm here. So yeah, fully global now, but beforehand global too. So it really makes no difference.
That's so true, hey.
Now,
exactly.
Yeah.
Virtual.
I'm speaking more to international audiences than I am almost to South African audiences right now. So yeah, very interesting how this has impacted on me.
Oh, that's amazing. You're so right. I'm in Los Angeles. You're in Johannesburg, right? Johannesburg, South Africa. This is Richard Wright's website. Hold on 1 second, Richard. I'm going to edit this out. Man, there's been so many ambulances, and LA is a very paranoid place almost, in a sense. When something like this happens, cops are very angsty. If you call 911, it's like there's a whole troop. There's an ambulance, there's a fire engine, there's cops all following the. But again, that's what makes Los Angeles unique and special, is everything's grander and bigger. Everything's just always at a whole nother level. And I guess that's what makes LA. So there goes the ambulance, the fire engine. Okay, we can go back now. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. This is Richard Wright's website. I am richardwright.com. He's a speaker. I love your YouTube. Let's go to that, actually. I love Richard's YouTube. I like his Twitter account over here. Richard, you're almost like an action figure. Do you know that? If I look at some of your posts and some of your branding, you've got like this pow, comic strip action figure. I think it's amazing. It's going to be able to, you can cross over into many platforms, to children. I'm sure you can connect to children, to adults.
I do that a lot, for sure. Especially at this time. I've been sending a lot of messages out to schools, to kids in their final year of school and everything. I mean, they're in lockdown. We're in lockdown in South Africa. So it's 2 months already that they're not at school. So it's a really tough time. It's their matric year, their final year of school, and they're on the lockdown. So a lot of that. I love doing kids. So I think what happened, so I'll tell you, Kev, is that beginning of lockdown in South Africa, I literally lost, in 3 days, I lost every single one of my gigs going forward. So they're all live gigs, and didn't matter where they were, I lost them all. So literally my future income was gone. And so I figured, well, how on earth, how am I going to stand out? How am I going to differentiate myself? Because every single professional speaker is in the same place. All our audiences are gone. And I didn't want to get into social media and start shouting out, shouting louder than everybody else and a bigger branding and free this, free that, free that. I didn't want to, and that's what everybody's done. You can get free webinars anywhere on anything, really. And I kind of figured, no, I can do better than that. And I want to actually make a difference. So I started to phone up every single one of my previous clients. I started at the beginning and literally just a phone call to say, hey, I just want to find out where you're at. And I've got one question for you, and that is, how can I help? What can I do? How can I help? I don't even have a product right now. I don't have virtual keynotes. I mean, obviously I can, but I'm not trying to hunt anything. All I want to know is, how can I help? And with almost every single one of them, the answer was, we've got our strategy waxed. We know who we are. We know what we're about, and we know how to move forward. We've got our communication strategy, our offline strategy, because everybody's working from home. But what we're really needing right now is just some motivation, some inspiration, some encouragement, and maybe just some hacks as to how we can think a little differently.
Okay.
And that's it. We're all needing that.
Are you a coach as well, Richard? Are you a coach as well, Richard?
So I am as well.
Okay.
I do quite a fair amount of that.
So you actually do you have a coaching fee? So if I want to be coached by you or mentored by you, I get into a program with you under contract. So it's not just you're a public speaker, that you're an Iron Man, you're an amazing dad, but you also coach business folks, couples.
Sure.
How does it work, Richard?
So my previous job, so I've always been in coaching. I was a student coach and a marathon coach for many, many years. And then I got into real estate. So that was in 2002. And then I, for 7 years before I resigned, was one of South Africa's biggest real estate brands, premier real estate brands, Pam Golding Properties. I was the national training manager there for 7 years. So anything from business to negotiation, primarily sales. So that's what I did. So, I mean, coaching, teaching, that's what I've done my whole life. So I do a lot of that as well, when I can fit it in.
Right.
My first priority is the speaking gigs, but the coaching I love. And we always start with the I am. We always start with your why. Because until I can uncover that stuff, I can't help you move forward. We can change the actions, we can change your strategy, but until I uncover the real meaning and the why.
Richard, what I would like to do actually is I'd like to see that on your website, because I find you very fascinating. I just didn't realize that you're also mentored and coached. So besides being a public speaker, I mean, I like this. I like people like Richard, because he's been through enough rough times, enough battles, that he can understand where you're coming from. So it's an easier fix for Richard to guide you through what you're going through than it is for yourself, because it's nice to get somebody else's perspective, especially with you, Richard. You're almost like a man in space, looking at Earth from 100,000 miles away, and you see life very differently because you've had to fight cancer 3 times now. And is it still present, or is it gone now, Richard? Are you?
No, so this is life. Because this is life, right? So for 4 years, been fighting this thing. The first time I beat it, I was one of only about 120 people in the history of the planet to survive that form of cancer, primary pituitary carcinoma. And so it's like, hey, cancer warrior, woo! And then it came back. It was like, whoa. And then I beat it again, and then it came back. And then you know what it's like, a brand new business. So I've been speaking for 2 years, and that slog, that really working really hard to get up there and getting yourself out there and getting it right, getting the product right, getting the audiences. And literally last year was amazing. It was like, wow, it just took me up. Beginning of this year, it was like, wow. I finally, in the lights,
I'm big time now. I've nailed it. I'm in Hollywood.
And then my partner moved out from Port Elizabeth, 1,000 kilometers away, and came to living together. First time since I've been divorced 9-10 years ago that I've had a partner live with me and my girls. And it's just, life is amazing. And then I went into remission last week in February. We found that out, and it was like, finally, my life. I'm great at this. And then coronavirus, and then lost everything. It's like, So that's just what it is. That's life, And
but you smile saying that. You smile saying that, Richard. You.
What do you do? So you hit on the thing. I'm radically optimistic, and I really am, because you're a survivor, Kev. You're a survivor of every single thing that has ever happened to you in your life. You know, and for you guys listening out there, if you're married, you're a survivor of marriage. If you're divorced, you're not only a survivor of marriage, you're a survivor of divorce. If your car is financed, if your house is mortgaged, you're a survivor of death without having to pay it off. You're already a survivor. And that was a big lesson for me with the cancer. It was feeling like a cancer victim and thinking, well, I only get to be a survivor when I'm in remission. At that point, I'm a survivor. Hey, but actually that's not true because I'm alive. So until cancer gets me, I'm no longer a cancer, I'm no longer a cancer survivor, but then I'm dead and okay. But until that point, I get to be a survivor of every single thing that has ever happened to me. And with stage 4 brain cancer, I could be hit by a car, I could be shot with a gun, I could have a heart attack, I could die of any other thing. And even if I die of those other causes, I die a cancer survivor. And that was a big realization to say, you know, are you living your life like you're a survivor of absolutely everything that has ever happened to you in your life? Or are you just surviving today in the hopes that tomorrow is going to be better? Are you just hoping to survive this COVID or lockdown or wherever you are right now in the hopes that your life back to normal? Well, you're never going to get that back because we don't have what is normal. Normal is now. It's the only thing that's normal. Anything else is the past, and that's gone. So,
Richard, are you a normal human being? Are you normal or are you abnormal?
Well, again, what's normal? So, what's normal for me is, you know, what's normal for the spider is chaos for the fly. So, you know, how do we even determine that stuff? And I think that's the problem. Is again, there's the identity. We spend so much of our lives trying to fit into somebody else's idea of normal that we don't. What is that? What is that to us? So normal is anything you want to be, and that's the thoughts again. When you change this, so one of my favorite quotes, Oliver Wendell Holmes said that, and at the time said, "A man's mind will forgive the dude if it was in today's society. A person's mind wrapped around a new idea can never return to its original dimensions." A person's mind wrapped around a new idea can never return to its original dimension. So once I've heard something, once I've changed something up here, once I've read something, I can never go back to unreading it. I can't, no, I didn't want to hear that. No, not going there. No, I've heard it. And it's there. And again, that's thoughts. So our brains are only capable of holding any one given thought at any given time. We can't multitask. You know, for those of you who think you can, all you're doing is fast switching. You're switching from one thought to another thought.
Yeah, I'm like you, Richard. I don't believe in multi. I cannot count and say my ABCs at the same time. It's impossible. I'm not an advocate of multitasking. I like to be hyper-focused, get that out the way, start what I finish what I started, move on to the next thing. Multitasking to me, but more power to them. I agree with you.
No, 100%. So because you can, if you can control that one thought, the law of attraction, you'll attract more of whatever that is. So for me, like even getting through an Ironman with stage 4 brain cancer, people say, you know, how on earth did you get through an Ironman with stage 4 brain cancer? And my answer is the same way everybody else did. There's no special rules for the cancer guy. There's no shorter distance for the cancer guy. There's no time allocation. It's the same. And everybody gets through it one stroke at a time, one pedal stroke at a time, and one footstep at a time. That's what it is. But how do you control yourself in that moment? And that is being in the moment. The moment you're trying to think about a finish line, already head blown. It's just too long. It's too far. And you start the marathon, 42.2. It's a full marathon. When you start the marathon, you can't think about the finish line. You've got to think about where you are right now. So again, that's the power of the thoughts. And I repeat to myself a mantra, which is I'm strong, feeling good, strong, powerful, and time to my footsteps. And so what I'm doing, and because I'm saying it, I'm reinforcing a concept 4 times in my brain. I'm using 4 different areas in my brain to say something, because you can't say something without hearing it back. But what I'm doing is, so your brain is the most sophisticated filtration system on the planet. Whatever thought you put in there, your brain will attract more of and get rid of anything that doesn't agree with it. So it filters in the things that agree with the thought and filters out the things that disagree with the thought. So if I'm saying I'm strong, feeling good, strong, powerful, the brain's saying, okay, let's look for evidence that this is true. And we can always find that evidence. And let's filter out all the evidence that says that this isn't true. And within a very short space of time, you've changed your entire demeanor, how you feel, your body, because our body's an amazing thing, but our bodies are designed to protect ourselves. So the minute your brain thinks, hold on 2 seconds, this guy's taking a little bit too much strain, let's tell him he's tired, so he backs off. Is he really tired? Probably not. But that's not, the brain is trying to go into I call it self-sabotage, really, but it's trying to protect itself. So when you understand the mechanism of the brain, you can completely change your outcome. And that's all it is for me, is saying that if I can change my thinking, I can beat brain cancer. It's how you think will determine everything. And especially now at this time, it's critical that we control our thinking. So Kev, you're looking so freaky right now with that background that you're walking around. He's walking.
That is freaky. Thank you. I'm trying to. So, Richard, I'm like you. I know you're ambitious, man. I'm highly ambitious. I have 5 boys, starting at 20 all the way down to 2.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a tribe. I've got my own soccer team. So what I'm trying to do is trying to maneuver around all the kids and the wife and the family and the teenagers, and because they're precious, they're sacred to me, and I'm glad I'm at this time and moment with them at home. I still take care of business though. You know, money solves a lot of problems for me, of course. And then again, I've got also the time right now to be present with my family, Richard. So that's important. Yeah. Again, I am a highly ambitious, very motivated person, so I don't sit still or quiet for very long. So in saying that, I want to continue with you. Richard, another question I want to ask you is, I've been to your websites and your social media. Is there a book, if I want to know more about Richard, or I want to take something away because I'm so fascinated by this extraordinary man, Iron Man, is there a book somewhere? Am I missing something, Richard?
No, you're not. So quite sad. This is another part. I finished the book in early January, and it's due to be published. It should have been out on shelves this month. In fact, this week was when it was supposed to be on shelves, and without lockdown, it's now been extended. So I've got till Friday this week to do the final edit, and then it goes in shelves, and then it'll be on Amazon as well. So that's coming. It's called The Power of Purpose. And
that's gorgeous. That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's everything. It's how to come insurmountable odds, challenges, and triumph over adversity, and through the power of purpose. So for me, that's everything. It's in that moment where you feel that the chips are stacked against you. You can't move another foot forward in an Ironman. You can't. You're not going to survive this thing. You're not going to be able to rebuild your business after the chaos of COVID-19.
Yeah.
What is going to get you moving forward? That's what gives that purpose.
When your book's out, we're going to do a whole nother episode, because please, I would love to share that. And I'd love to share the link. So it will be on Amazon. That's amazing. Richard, I want to say something. I want to have the audience look at this. I want you to look at Richard right now. Richard, you never stop smiling. You know that? Even when you're talking, you're smiling. So I've watched you for 40 minutes now. And in 40 minutes, Richard, like now you're kind of like just paying attention to me, but even now you're smiling. It is very interesting. You must be the power of positive thinking is coming to my mind. Norman Vincent Peale. You seem to have a unchangeable, optimistic view on life, especially since you've gone through everything. Do you believe this cancer will go away, or is it a part of your destiny, Richard?
Wow. That's a very interesting question. And Kev, that's the first time in a lot of interviews that I've ever been asked that question. I actually don't know. I haven't thought that far. And I really haven't. So even going through the cancer, I used to get irritated by people that asked me about the cancer. Even my family wanting to know about the treatment, the doctors, what they said.
Yeah.
Because the minute you go there, I'm having to relive it. And then the minute I relive it, then it sucks me under. So I'm extremely, extremely careful about protecting my energy. And so I don't even, to be really honest, and I thank you for asking this thank you for asking this question, because it's made me think, and I can tell you what the answer is: no. Do I believe it's coming back? I don't know. Is there a good chance? For sure. But whether it does or whether it doesn't change this moment. It doesn't change where I am right now. And this is what I have. So if I'm optimistic or positive, it's purely because I am living in this. This is the only thing to me right now is talking to you and my day. The minute so that lovely quote, I forget its name I can't pronounce. You cannot suffer the past nor the future. What you're suffering is your memory and your imagination. So if we go back to the past, none of that stuff's real. And a lot of people are saying, when are we going to go back to normal? Well, you're never going to go back to normal. And the minute you think that, you're now living in the past, which means you're not living in today. You're just repeating yesterday. And why would you want to do that? Number one. Yeah. And that's just a memory. It's not real. It's a memory. You
don't own it. You don't own it. Exactly. Yeah.
And then the imagination is tomorrow. And if my imagination is cancer and cancer coming back, and I live my life looking over my shoulder and thinking cancer's coming back, well, what kind of a today am I having? Because I'm suffering this imagination. It isn't real. Could it be real? For sure. But here's the thing that I know is I am, same as you, 100% equipped to be able to handle anything that comes my way. I've survived everything that's ever come into my life up until this point. And the day that I don't, well, that's the day I don't. But until that point, I have. So I need to live like that because there's evidence. And then in terms of the future, the minute I hold myself back with that negativity of, oh, but this might, or oh, but that might, or so here's another cool quote. This is Mark Twain. Whether it was him or not, I'm not entirely sure, but it's accredited to him.
We won't quote you, Richard.
No, don't. So, and he purportedly said, I've suffered some terrible things in my life, some of which have actually happened. Wow. How many of the things that we suffer are the imagination of the future? And I had to be, in the last 4 years, I learned that the hard way. The minute I tried to look into the future and imagine what was going to happen, imagine cancer, imagine dying, imagine all of these things, all these terrible things that could happen, it robbed me of my ability to live in the present. And that was a very, very important lesson to learn. So I'm in control. I say to people, you're the CEO of you. Right. You're the chief energy officer. You're the chief energy officer of you. And energy is more contagious than this virus. So whatever energy you're putting out there, you're going to get back of and you're spreading it. So like you saying, your time with your family is so important. It absolutely is. And it's your energy with them that they're going to feed off and vice versa. And we have to control that energy. So for me, I don't even want to think about the future in terms of, is it going to come back? Is cancer in my future? It is or it isn't. And if it is, I'll deal with it.
Somehow you'll survive. You're a survivor.
I'll deal with that. So I believe that being optimistic and being positive can coexist. They're not the same thing. I can be radically optimistic about the future, radically optimistic about being a South African, about bouncing back, about being tenacious and courageous and brave and all of those wonderful things, because the proof is, here I am, I've survived everything that's happened to me. So why shouldn't I be? I'm radically optimistic about the future. I'm radically optimistic about my career in speaking and about accessing other audiences and about helping other people to grow and evolve. But that doesn't mean I have to be positive every single second of every single day. And there's some days throughout this I've been negative and I've struggled. And that's okay. We're going to have those times. But it doesn't mean we can't lose focus of that radical optimism. So the other thing I say there, Kev, is that choosing optimism is not only a radical choice, it's also a rebellious choice. And I quite like that idea of being a rebel. So,
you're a modern day rebel. Yes, you are, Richard. That is for sure.
So that's what that is, So it's a rebellious choice because it's not the common choice right now to be optimistic. We are surrounded by negativity and by
it's everywhere. The media, people. Even when I go to the store, people have a conversation with me, which I don't want to be negative. I'm like, good God, I don't know you. I want to absolutely, Richard. I want to point something out because I've had coaches. I've had many coaches, and I believe in coaching. I've been mentored a lot in business. I have some very favorite CEOs that have mentored me. I also realize a lot, and I pay attention to the words, the posture, and the things that people say and do. Interestingly enough, I've only known you for 46 minutes, and already you're calling me Kev. So it's very interesting how you merge with the person you have a conversation with and treat them like as if you know them, because we really don't know each other. However, we do. And I don't like the word but, because but is like a contradiction. I like Richard, but he doesn't know me well. That's not true. I like Richard and he knows me well, because I just spotted that. I'm like, wow, you're a very fluid human being. For some reason, you're very like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's in a sincere way. I'm the most special person in your life right now. Me and you have this conversation. Nothing else exists but me and you. Very, very fascinating. I've spotted all of these traits. Another thing, I'm not sure what journey you took because it's taking you on a different path. And the reason being is I know all the public speakers, all the motivational speakers, all the self-help speakers, and you call yourself a self-care. I call it self-mastery, which is very fascinating because the words that you've been using, the quotes, the statements, the philosophy, and the science, it's similar, but it is not. There we go. But it's similar, and it is different. Richard, you've got a very different approach, similar approach. You know, we're on the kind of the same dimension, same parallels. It is different, and I love that because the quotes, the philosophy, the different Japanese, three circles, not boxes. How did you go on that trajectory? Because we all know the Tony Robbins ways and a lot of the Gary Vaynerchuk. I love Gary Vaynerchuk. I've done a lot of coaching. Yeah, we have some big coaches in Orange County. What have you studied? What kind of journey did you take to get to be this extraordinary mindset wise, Richard?
Another great question. So essentially, let's get back to the cave. And this is going to answer the question because it's all linked.
Okay.
Is I think what sets me apart a little bit is that I don't ever want to model myself around somebody. I don't want to take somebody else's thinking and make it mine, or not one person anyway. How much is there that's new? But what is new is your take on a number of different people and then coming up with this thing which resonates with you and is you. So I think for me is I really have been forced into, and forced is a big word, and it's true, forced into having a sink or swim, be authentic or drown in this idea of who the hell are you? And that was amazing for me. So I didn't set out to be where I am right now. I was a bunch of other things, and I've done some incredible things in my life, but they've all brought me to this point. So from a thinking point of view, I've read a lot, but I'm not going to say I read one genre or one thread of thinking on neuroplasticity or on the power of the brain or whatever it is. And that's not who I am either. So I think what it is more than anything else is I'm not a scripted speaker. I've never repeated the same talk twice. It might have similar slides or the same slides, but the slides are purely just the prompt and there's no script at all. And I never, ever want to be.
That's very organic. I love that, Richard. That's organic as it comes.
So I never want to be there. So for me, my thing is I need to understand who the audience is or who the person is and try my best to meet them at their level, whatever that is. But that means that I need to resonate and be just me, be raw, authentic, real. And that is who I am. So for me, it was, I think I am a thinker. I'm intense. One of the words here, I'm intense.
Right, yeah.
And so throughout this journey, it's been a real self-exploration journey of self-discovery where I've read and looked, but it's been me. So it's my journey. And I think, and that's quite cool for me. And because I've been exposed to so much, I think that puts me in quite a unique place where I'm using the story, but I've got a good understanding of how to relate that to other people from a lifetime of coaching. So, but more than anything else, it really is a very deep desire to connect with people at their level. So if
your self-care statement.
No, I'm not a formal kind of person, and to me, the real Richard it's rich and it's Kev. That's what it is, and because your energy, so your chief energy officer, your energy that you put out is also relaxed and it's easygoing, and how you've been speaking is great, and I can match that. So for sure, and great. Why wouldn't I? And right. I think the other thing, what you see is what you get. Wear my heart on the sleeve, and I'm going to give everything always. Meraki, whatever you do it with great love and with everything. So that's me.
Goodness
so
me.
that's me. Mm-hmm. And what you see is what you get. And it's no different to whether I'm on a stage in front of 1,000 people or when I'm doing individual coaching. You're going to get Richard. That's it.
I love it. Richard, I want to continue, but we're getting to the point where I have to end this amazing subject with this amazing individual. I'm going to call you Rich because you're so rich.
Thank you.
With life. Rich, because we're friends now. You call me Kev. I've merged with you. You're Rich.
I'd be upset if you called me Richard now.
Yeah, I've got goosebumps, Rich. I really do. It's very special. You really have an impact in people's lives. Rich, I want to ask you one more question. Actually, I want to ask you two. The first question I want to ask you, because it'll be quick, is during this COVID time, during this quarantine, and some of us right now in America, in the next, say, week, we're kind of coming out of it. It might get better, it might get worse. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. What do you have for people right now, even myself, who are struggling, being around four walls and a roof, just to give them some hope? What do you have to say for that, Richard?
Sure. So, a lot of what I've already said is that you're already a survivor of absolutely everything, and you're going to survive this too. You're going to survive this too.
Okay.
But I would really want to encourage people not to look at a finish line. So one of my keynotes is "Where's the finish line?" And it's really WT, what the fudge? Because that's what happens when we look at the finish line. Is the finish line moves, and it's with everything in your life. So we've been in this. We had 21 days lockdown, and then we were told 21 days. There it is. So everybody's counting down the days, and then we had an extension for another 16 days.
Right.
Now everybody's counting down until we get to the 30th of April, and then we found out, no, we're into levels now. Now it's level 4, level 3, level 2, and speaking like myself, we'll go back in level -16 or something. We're the last to come back. So the minute you set your target on that thing, it's expectation. You're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Oh, wow.
However hard this thing is, again, it's being an Ironman and saying it's too long to look at the finish line. I can only deal what is the only thing I can control right now are my thoughts and living in the present. So if I could encourage everybody to do that, would be to control the thoughts, live in this present, and stop counting down the days. Stop with this finish line, because it's going to change. And what then? Then you're going through the whole roller coaster of change again, where it's the anger, the shock, the disbelief, the denial, the depression, the bargaining, and you just
all those emotions. Yeah, all those emotions. Yeah, Richard. Richard, I want to end with this. I want to ask you this question only because, I want to go deep, Richard. I really want to go deep with you. And so if I hopefully I won't offend you, and hopefully it will be more some purposeful and your contribution to life. So Richard, I want to pretend and entertain us if you can. If me and you in 10 years time could be having the same conversation. I'm actually getting kind of emotional about this. I'm not too sure it's because of you or because of myself or the situation. So in 10 years time, if me and you could sit down and have this conversation again, Richard, what does that look like for you?
Wow. Okay. In 10 years time, my 2 girls are happy. Whatever that means for them, they feel happy. Where happiness is not a destination. They don't have to be married, don't have to be educated. That'd be great, but that's not what it is. That they feel, when I ask, who are you? They say, I'm happy. Wow. In 10 years time, that'd be my dream. And they still look at their dad and say, you're my hero. That's 10 years time. That's that one. In 10 years time, I am still able to make my partner Deborah happy as well. Happy where we don't have to, nothing has to happen, nothing has to change. We don't have to get married, don't have to have kids, don't have to move houses bigger, more. We are just happy inside, big. And then for me, 10 years from now, I've been able to impact on more lives.
How many lives? How many lives? Give me a number, Richard.
So that doesn't matter to me. I often say that. So the numbers don't matter. It could be one. If I can touch one person, that is enough for me. So I actually put a post out the other day. So over our 6 weeks, I have had the privilege and the honor of speaking to more than 7,000 people over virtual keynotes. And I've been to 21 different countries, not cities, countries, in terms of speaking. And I look back and I'm like, wow, but that's not what counts. And I posted 2 messages there. The one from somebody said, Richard, you've got no idea. I cannot actually put into words how you materially changed my life today, and what you're doing for other people. You've got no idea what that is. That is all that counts for me. That's my purpose wrapped up right there. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, and hope that the ripples ripple on. But more than anything else, I would, in 10 years' time, that people can say, hey, you said something, and that set me on a different path or changed something for me, and that's it. That's enriching lives. And wherever that takes me is amazing. I just want more of that.
So the big thing I'm taking away from this conversation with you, Rich, because you're so rich with life, is, and you hit the nail on the head. It gave me sparks, and little sparks were flying around me. Is you want to be the hero? Your daughters will look at you, because it's true. My dad was my hero, and I tell people my dad was my hero. He was an engineer, different to me. I was more entrepreneurial. He was an engineer. However, he was a big inspiration of who I am today. I would love to do a future episode with you, Richard, of what it's like to be a hero, because that's what the show is called, Legends: A Hero's Journey, and it is about business.
So that's I already have it. I'm not going to tell you all of it now. So this is going to be the teaser. So my dad wasn't my hero. My dad's never been my hero.
Oh my God, Rich! You have so many right hooks, Rich. You have so many right hooks. I don't know what's. Go ahead.
So for me, being a hero in my daughter's eyes means I have to unbecome all the things I had to become for my parents to earn their love, and I never felt that I did. And so I've got to fix me,
Right.
or evolve, and become the person my kids need me to be, so that I can give them the platform so that they can become a better human being that I could ever possibly become. And that means I can be a hero in their lives. And I need to earn that every day. So
Rich,
that's an easy one.
I think we can speak for 10 hours, because you just I have so many other questions I want to ask you. Let's end it here, Rich. Thank you so much for your time. You are a rich human being, an incredible human being. I want to be one of the first to endorse your book and support it. I'm going to put all of Richard's contact details in the description box below. Please reach out to him. He's a one of a kind. He's uniquely, impressively unusual. I still have to do some exploring with Rich, because I've met a lot of unique people, but every time I think I'm going somewhere with Rich, he hits me with the right hook. And I love that, because there's no script here, and this is why the show's so organic. Please hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with David. Crush the bell, click the like button so it helps the analytics on YouTube. Rich, I'm going to have you back very, very soon. Thank you so much for your precious time. You are a remarkable human being, and I don't have to kiss your butt. That's a fact. You're awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much for having me. What an absolute privilege, and it's been amazing to chat to you. Can't wait to do it again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy.